So this morning, I reported that Throne and Liberty is going to be having its internal alpha running from April the 4th through April the 9th, and I can confirm this is an actual real screenshot. What's interesting about my brain, I guess, is that as a dyslexic person, reading is a challenge, and will always, unfortunately, be a challenge. And as I continue to look at this image, excitedly, I completely missed out on some massive information, which you guys have now been asking me about. What do I feel about the concept of Throne of Liberty as a free-to-play MMO RPG? And furthermore, they continue to hit the note that it is action combat. And so in this video, guys, I just want to kind of highlight that information for you, but more or less also share my opinion about free-to-play, about action combat, because these are some big debates that are happening already in the community, and rightfully so, because at the end of the day, we really still don't know. Words in this case don't really mean much. It's all about action and delivery, but thankfully, with an internal alpha, most likely that means we're going to start to get both marketing information very soon, and who knows, maybe a leak or two. And regardless of that, I'm going to be sure to give you guys the latest and hopefully best versions of the information out there online. However, I'm not alone. This is a great community. I want to shout out Jay Oddity, aka Evenly. Also want to say thanks to Reeve Genesis and so many more. And be sure just to let me know if you're making content, because in my view, it shouldn't always be about me. It isn't about me. I want to highlight the information for you. But if you guys want to stick around for the rest of this video, I just want to talk to you guys about free to play, what it means to me, what my view on this is, and also the action combat discussion. So let's go ahead and dive right in. First and foremost, free-to-play does not shock me at all. Now, I'm going to continue to die on a hill saying I think buy-to-play is the best way. So what we can see here, what we can almost glean from this, unless all of a sudden we start seeing AI technology to keep up with the botting technology, and being that this is an MMO, there's always going to be demand. There's going to be a market for cheaters out there on the internet. In fact, we're seeing with Blue Protocol, they're adding an anti-cheat, but still, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to fix the problem. And free-to-play means there is no money down. There is no financial cost outside of all your time and effort to try and cheat, to try and bot. So one of the things I'll see, no matter what, especially coming off of Lost Ark, there'll probably be a bigger and more powerful narrative that Amazon doesn't care about bots. And there's not much that you can do. And I mean this as a software developer. I mean this as somebody who, when you try to find things, you're working against also people who are always trying to find ways to exploit systems. This is a part of being human. This is also a part of gaming. Now, all that being said is, should that mean you give up? Absolutely not. That means you need to figure out how to double down, triple down on those efforts. And I think AI could probably come into play, but we're already going to see then the opposite story of where legitimate gamers get caught up in, automatic solutions. And so this is kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't approach to gaming. And that's going to be one thing. One way to fight that is having some money up front, because if you're going to try and cheat and bot, and if you get caught and banned, well, nothing else, you're helping fund the game that we're all playing, but also that there's a financial de-incentivization, as I start completely butcher that word, into doing these kind of things. So just note, that's why I'm going to fall onto the buy-to-play fence. Plus, I think it always puts us on an even playing ground. But we know this is going to be a battle pass driven, microtransaction driven support system. Free to play opens up the game to so many gamers out there. And here's where I'm going to show or lose some of you, and that's okay. My goal is to teach, to preach the truth, when it comes to gaming, especially from how I see the problems within MMOs. And it comes down to the whole next generation of gamers is trained up on free-to-play cosmetic shop items, battle pass. And while I, someone who's coming, I'm not technically a boomer, I'm a millennial, but I see the okay boomers in chat, and I want to okay boomer you back, but in this case, I see that there's a generational shift in MMOs and game design, and whether you like that or not, I mean, we could have nuanced discussion as to what's acceptable, what's not. And for the vocal, minority who is commenting on videos and on these things, like I hear you, I feel you, but the kids are actually really important. And these models are going to be ways that they actually grow the genre. there's massive amounts of risks. There are definitely cases of people who are doing it poorly versus people who are doing it fantastically. And I think from a market decision, from let the market decide, we as a gaming population need to have some concessions and also need to have our lines in the sand, and we need to be able to communicate those articulately. And it becomes difficult to do online because gaming is like dating. Gaming is like a relationship for some people. Some people take it to a religious level. And I'm not saying they're wrong. Like, I'm a religious person. We all have our thing, right? But when it comes to the online world, we're talking about your voice could have massive reach that could hit people who are unintended. And that's something that I run into from time to time. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking to my community here, and sometimes the videos just go nuts because some of you crazy people hit like and share and all that wonderful stuff. And then I end up, seeing a lot of toxicity and negativity in terms of that because a lot of people don't know who I am and what I stand for because this might be the first video that they ever see. Hello, if that's you in the case. My name is Brian, by the way. Let's continue. But that being said, is that the genre itself can sustain more games within the genre, but you have to get more people into the pipeline. You got to bring them in, and you got to remove those barriers. And every time you add in a barrier, you're giving somebody else the opportunity to win. Now, do I want New World to go free to play? No, I think buy to play is a solid model and free to play is a solid model. And I think essentially having those, all of a sudden, with no subscription, the genre itself opens up. Not just are you getting more people into the pipeline, but you can start to kind of experiment with ideas. We haven't really seen that in MMOs. That's why if you go to the MMORPG subreddit, you will constantly see the discussion of, is the genre dying? Because the genre is aging out. At some point, I'm not going to be playing games, but my kids will be. What games will they be playing? Well, I hope MMOs. I hope that through Dad, we're gaming together. But they're also, and I see it as a part of their generation, but knowing that it's been a part of the generation that came before them much longer, that is the model. Kind of that free to start, free to try. And as much as I wish buy to play won, as much as I wish the subscription model won, you only have so much time, so much attention, and so much money that you can put in any given month. And having it as an option, and having the ability to move from place to place, and having more of the seasonal design that MMOs are now adopting, that ends up being the case. And so that is how it is. And guess what? The market will decide, right? Like at the end of the day, I'm not worried about it because good practices should be, I think, financially rewarded and bad practices should be avoided. And so ideally, this could mean more players in the pipeline, more things that people can try, and we could find and build a better business model that benefits the devs because it then benefits the players. Focusing on your players, but at the same time, you can't forsake your devs. They need to work, they need to eat, they need to feed their families. And as long as we can have this rewarding cycle that goes both to the players and both to the devs, we could probably see something bigger, something better built out of that. I was trying to think of another B word just to kind of, I don't know, alliteration, but it is what it is, right? So you don't come here for the alliteration, you come here for the facts. So then action combat. I think essentially the fact that this is going to be running on consoles and PC, the more action combat they can get, the better. And this will unfortunately limit some players' capabilities. I do think that there are ways you can kind of offset that, you can address that, and you can try to make it better. But I think it's still going to be a hybrid system from screenshots. And no matter when I talk about this, people are like, somebody analyzed a screenshot over, on Reddit and etc. Like that ends up being the conversation. The core of it is, well, yeah, but have you played it? Have you felt it? Played Blue Protocol this weekend. It was wonderful. Blue Protocol, free to play, right? Played it, but it's got that action combat. You know what? I think that this game could have that hybrid. Honestly, at the end of the day, I wouldn't be upset at all if it was an action combat game that you as a player got to opt into tab target. Because I think that tab targeting does help some players out, but tab targeting will feel a little bit on the older side of things, right? But not every game needs to be every game. Not every game needs to be action. Not every game needs to be tab targeted. I just think that the MMO's genre itself is evolving. The marketing, the wording they use is action combat. What does that really mean? Well, hopefully we'll know more this week as the alpha is set to run within Amazon. And they're calling it an alpha, like Jay was talking about this in terms of like it's their first run through as Amazon, and I can get that. I can respect that label. That means hopefully we'll start to hear more conversation about a beta. Now we know the website that they have, like Play Throne and Liberty. No, it's like Play Lost Ark. No, Play etc. is registered to them. It is registered to Amazon. So hopefully we'll start to see the marketing campaign kick up here soon enough, and I can bring you more and more interesting facts and information, and hopefully some new gameplay as well. But I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. Thanks so much. Hopefully you got something to get out of this video. If you were new, this is a video that randomly hit the subscribe button on. Welcome to the channel. If you guys are returning subscribers, you are sexy, magnificent beasts. And thank you so much for being a part of this nation here. And hopefully you guys will check out some other videos and more. Who knows? If you guys are looking for anything specific, sound off in the comments. I'm here to help, and I'm going to wish you guys all the best. Thanks for being here, and see you next time.